Well, I honestly, I have no doubt that you guys will get there because I feel like I was on kind of in the infancy of everything, and I've loved watching when I can, and I also like seeing even when Mickey, when you were carving the one time, and even with Matt and Paul, just seeing how your styles and your skills are developing by doing this every week. It's really awesome, and I think it's inspiring, like for all artists out there. So I just kudos to you guys.
Well, thank you very much. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, we couldn't be happy to have you back. I mean, we just were like, I think about back then, that was what, 2020?
Yeah.
Jeez,
20 years ago?
Yeah. But I mean, but just in how we were like, we were kind of green, but at the same time, just the conversation we had, I think that like kicked off the things we did later. Anyway, I'm just so glad you're back with us. It's like having a friend come back home, and here we go.
Oh,
it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
Thanks.
And I have more Canadian friends than ever now because of this show.
This is very true.
We're staying north of the border last week and then now this week. So this is
We're taking over because we have nothing else to do up here.
You're America's hat, so you're already over.
America's toque.
Yes.
That's more like it.
So let's look back at this is Paul's final carving from last week. I love the Hail Santa. That nice touch.
Well, he was befuddled, right? So that's what happens when you go to the demon tattoo party and the one demon learning, and you can't spell very good. So
I love this guy, Paul.
He's awesome.
This was so fantastic.
Thanks.
Befuddled demon. So
yeah,
it was a little befuddled demon, right? Yeah.
It took a while to get there because it was exactly. I was befuddled by having to do it. I had no direction for the longest time, and then sort of just came to me.
So did you cut both of those out of the back?
Yep, right out of the back of the head. Because you see how they go with the curve. So I just like made one big cut and then sliced it into two and then rounded them off. So I'm kind of rounded them off.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice. And what this
Nice.
Matt, you're killing it.
Cool.
It's so good.
Well, Paul and I swear to God, we're becoming one person because, we start thinking this. Well, not physically. Come on, Paul. but like I swear we have the same kind of thoughts. And I went with the ears. He did the horns, but I was like, well, he's got to have. Maybe he's befuddled because he's missing his horns, and that was kind of anyway. But when you're dealing with something like of this shape, you're limited a little bit. But when you can cut chunks out of the back and make ears and stuff and horns, it makes it you get a whole new thing out of it.
Yeah, they look great from the front, but you turn them to the side and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. You just need one good angle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. One good picture and then over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen, the last time you were here, you didn't get to meet the fourth member of Carvers and Creators. It is the Hollow Wheel, the center spinner. So we are going to spin the wheel and make the deal tonight.
The deal with the devil.
That's right. So let me cue in on Paul, and Paul can tell you more about that.
Okay. As usual, we have our list of subjects that we have to choose to carve from, and the outside ring is the expression that we have to try to convey. Last week being a befuddled demon was pretty tough. It worked out with changing the location of the logo because we didn't end up with the same thing over and over again. I think you guys are onto something there, so I'm going to change it even a little more today. And
okay, so what do we got? Just for edification, we got Viewer's Choice, Circus Freak, Child Cyclops,
Caveman, Pirate,
Zombie, Animal, Demon, Alien. Okay. Please.
Yes,
please.
I have a bit of anxiety over this one.
I know.
I have kind of an odd-shaped fruit to deal with this evening. So, but that's what it's all about, right? If you're comfortable, then that's no fun. You got to be uncomfortable. That's how you grow.
Right.
All right. So let's spin this bad mamma jamma. Oh, I broke it. Viewer's choice.
Oh shit!
Oh.
That is going to end badly. I can tell already.
All right, what is the viewer supposed to be doing, Paul?
Ah, Jesus, Devious again. We got to take Devious off the board. I'm sorry, Maddie. I missed you. I was too busy in my own head with the sound of the wheel.
You were spinning, but I was wondering what the viewer's choice was going to be doing, and it's being devious.
Oh yes.
So, all right,
boy.
so now I guess we need to just kind of throw it out to our friends and family, and let's. Okay, we got one hand up. Kristen's gonna be able to tell us potentially something. So what we should do. It's just a thought here for viewers' choice. Let's see if we can get a quick consensus. Oh, we got Sinister Circus Freak. Okay, an elf.
Right. Oh boy.
And you know what we'll do? We're gonna let Kristen decide. I think that's probably the way to go with our.
So I'm deciding what you guys are making?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So it's either a circus freak or an elf.
Yeah,
Right now
give it a sec. Let's give them a couple seconds to come in because
Leprechaun on the board.
That's a pretty good one,
Oh,
especially
Leprechaun.
March.
oh boy.
Okay. Oh, Circus Freak. Oh boy.
I like Circus Freak too.
Uh-oh.
Easter Bunny. Yeah, there's a lot of holidays coming into play right now. Do an easy one.
What's an easy one? What's an easy one?
Oh.
Wow. Who
What about a jack-o'-lantern themed card? No, I'm just kidding.
Never heard of
can
it.
you do that at this point?
Evil elf.
Evil elf, which is similar to a leprechaun.
What about an evil leprechaun?
Ooh.
Well, we do have Devious, right? Which would
Be in the same.
fall under that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
gonna
a
do whatever I want, but you guys have to do.
Yeah,
Vampire
it's all
Bunny.
secret, and you're going to determine how tortured we are here shortly. I got an idea. How about we do this, Mickey? Let them keep coming in. Let's do our toast.
I think.
After our toast, what do you think? What do you think, Paul?
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just starting to see a pattern of a Devious leprechaun. I'm starting to see leprechaun a lot on the board.
The people have spoken on my side.
Hey, I just for the record, this isn't fixed, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It is the time of the year. Oh shit. Okay. Oh darn. I mean.
Or shite, as they might say back home.
We just lost all of our sponsorship.
Yeah.
Before we even got it.
So much sponsorship.
I know, we are so sponsored. It's crazy. We need sponsors, is what we need.
That's right.
But which leads me to the next thing. We should probably do our toast. Speaking of sponsors.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, Mickey, you're starting this week.
Yeah. This
All right.
time, you always go last.
I know.
Okay.
It's not fair to you.
So I have the Thundera, which is from Modern Times Brewing. They always have like really cool artwork in these series. So this is these are seasonal. So this is a hazy IPA.
Cool can.
Really super cool and super cool can as well.
Does that mean it's got like it's like a Hefeweizen kind of IPA?
No, it's kind of juicy. So it's like a New England IPA. Yeah.
Those are the best.
As you can see, it's like super kind of hazy instead of clear. So it's really like juicy, almost like having like orange juice in it. Super good.
It's Thundera. Is it like a Thundercats kind of theme? Is that?
I wish it was. That would be amazing.
Isn't that the name they're from?
Why no going here?
Kristen, what do you got?
So I'm super fancy tonight. I'm drinking a Canadian branded Prosecco.
Ooh.
Yeah, nothing but the best over here. I just chugged a coffee and now I'm good to go on to some Prosecco.
It's that time of night.
Yeah.
That glass is pretty fancy as well. I like it.
It's a skull.
Oh, even better. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
No orange juice for the Prosecco to make it a mimosa or anything?
No, it's not. It's not breakfast. So I'm going to just straight this.
Mimosa's a good 24 hours a day.
Well, I have some Aperol, so like I like putting like Aperol in it with like an orange slice, but I'm just keeping it simple because I'm lazy right now.
So Maddie, what did you got?
I got a Okay, it's Grand Canyon Brewing Company. In
Oh,
honor
I know
of
that.
Paul coming out to visit.
Coming out next month.
It's Kachina Throwback Ale, and if you can see the logo on top, this is my homage to our friends from the north, Kristen, because she's a huge hockey fan. I know all of her boys are hockey fanatics. There's
Yeah.
the Phoenix Coyotes logo on there. So I'm
Right.
trying to tie it all
There it
together
is.
with one beer. Yeah,
Somehow you managed to do it too. You're amazing.
one beer.
One beer to rule them all. And I'm going with the very last of the same case of beer I had for a while. The daily serving from Trillium Brewing in Boston, and it's a Weiss. It's boysenberry and all kinds of delicious blackberries and boysenberries. And the color of it is what really you don't think that's beer.
God. That's like a smoothie.
Yeah.
It is like a smoothie.
Yeah.
Not like a Bud Light smoothie, like a smoothie.
No. So cheers,
Matt.
fellas.
Oh,
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks for
Cheers,
having
everybody.
me.
Cheers to having everybody.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Matt, actually, the Phoenix Coyotes were originally the Winnipeg Jets.
That's right.
So a Canadian affiliation.
Yeah.
We can't stop tying this episode together. It's just one
Yep.
big happy bundle right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And further, the Coyotes were coached by Wayne Gretzky.
Now I heard
There
he's
you go.
Canadian. I heard he's
It all comes
Canadian.
around.
Mickey
It
is
all-
just an
Yeah.
encyclopedia.
It all leads back to Canada. All roads lead back to Canada. But
Exactly.
we can't go anywhere, but it all lead back to Canada.
They definitely lead back on ice road truckers. They seem
Right.
to always lead back in ice road.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right, so-
yeah, we're just
Can
gonna,
we- Are we going with a sinister leprechaun? I see leprechaun over and over again.
I'm gonna leave it up to Kristen. You want to make the final vote? What are
Well,
we
do
doing
you guys feel good about that? Do you feel inspired by that? Because I feel like maybe I'm just going to give you the option. You can do devious circus character, or deviant leprechaun, evil.
I think
leprechaun.
it's letting us off the hook though.
I know, but that's because I'm trying to be nice. So I just want you
You
guys.
mean? You mean? We're okay with it.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it should be majority rules because it is viewer's choice. So
I feel like there's I see troll and anyway, I think we should go with the leprechaun. It's March.
Okay.
Oh,
All
all right. Well,
Good
good choice.
Put a bunny
there.
on there. My girlfriend wants a bunny.
like an evil bunny? With
An evil
Shadow Bunny would
bunny.
work.
Ooh, that'd be kind of fun too. But
Okay,
all right,
well, how about
So,
leprechaun or bunny? They're both spring characters.
Not everybody gets a trophy on this show.
I don't think anybody gets a trophy on this show.
no, we're all coming forward.
We have to stick to our guns. I'm doing a devious leprechaun. But Matt, you can do a devious leprechaun disguised as a bunny. Just saying. You know, sometimes leprechauns.
No, we can't break tradition. I'll do a devious leprechaun. I think that's, it's the right thing to do. It is. It is the right thing to do. So, as much as it's
Right.
scary, I will.
Okey-dokey.
I will begin with the devious leprechaun. Now, if you guys are at home working on devious leprechauns, please chime in, and we want to see them as well. Don't you're not off the hook either, because I know a lot of people.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of
people. Come on.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to put vampire and bunny on the wheel. So
Didn't we have to take vampire off for a little while? We had to put it in timeout because that was coming up a lot too.
did we already do that?
We did
Vampire?
vampire.
We did vampires. We haven't done bunny. I did a bunny last year though.
I did an evil bunny out of modeling chocolate, but I never completed it. But I think it's on my Instagram, and it was pretty creepy. I don't know if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it.
I did an evil bunny that had. Remember that early, Paul? You and I.
That's right.
Like one of the first times I did a rabbit, and what was fun was I took the top part of the solid thing and I divided it and made the head down here and the ears were flopped over here, and just cut a big huge chunk down the middle. Fun.
Mickey, you can find them.
So he doesn't have ears on yet, but I didn't complete him. But
I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
yeah,
Oh my
I think
God.
I ran out of steam, and it just then Easter was over. It didn't come into fruition, but.
How long does modeling chocolate last for something like that? Can you put it on the shelf and go back to it if you keep it wrapped or something?
Modeling chocolate's really funny, and I'm finding like in different climates, like if you're working in studio, because there's just so much ventilation, it really dries out quickly, and because it's best when it's like oily. It's a bit of a challenge because then you can't blend it in anymore. Like it becomes just it's not malleable anymore.
Right.
Even if you wrap it, it doesn't always help.
Kristen, I was just gonna say, I know you have a number of sponsors like Satin Ice, I think, and others. Do you is there a modeling chocolate, like a best modeling chocolate out there for people that are trying this?
Go ahead, Kristen.
No, I don't
they
know.
actually do send me stuff, so I feel like this is sponsorship.
I would just eat it myself. Yeah.
So I used to try to make my own just because I couldn't source this readily enough. And now I'm super lucky because there's a great distributor close to me that carries it. But I feel like right now modeling chocolate's having its day in the sun, like how toilet paper for the pandemic was in the spring and how yeast was. So I was kind of nervous because I have a Jabba the Hutt cake coming up on the horizon, and then the show tonight. I thought that I didn't have any, and I think I was like stockpiling or something, or I was trying to make the shipping worth it. So I ordered 2 extra pails. So I'm safe, but it's kind of hard to get right now. But I only use not even I'm not really paid to say this, but I only use Chocopan because I could eat
Chocopan. Okay.
Yeah, it's just there are some other brands, but they have like a lot of hard lumps of cocoa in it and stuff. But I primarily, if I could, if somebody was like, you can only work with modeling chocolate or fondant, I would only ever work in modeling chocolate, especially for the kind of stuff that I like doing. So I buy it in basic colors and then I dye it and it stays forever. Sometimes I have characters for up to a year. You guys are probably the same. You try to preserve something and then at some point you're like, yeah, I love this, but it's got to go.
It does, yeah. I get bored of them too.
Yeah.
I get bored of staring at the same thing over and over again. It's like I still have that picture, so when I preserve them, I have to put them in liquid. So it's not like you get to a sculptor or something. You actually sometimes I want to put hands on it. You know what I mean, and kind of feel around and stuff. So after a while, I get bored of seeing the same thing sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Does modeling chocolate come in just brown and white? Is that right, or does it come in multicolors now?
So you can get it in brown, you can get it in black, you can get it in white, and you can get it in ivory and red. And I think they do have small containers if you wanted blue or
okay.
Yeah, but it's funny. The irony of modeling chocolate is it's the best thing to sculpt in, but it's the worst thing to paint. It's really of the oil? Yeah, because the oil. So I use it's meant actually for gum paste flowers. I use powders, so that's brown. Just it's not So I use all different powders and then I dilute it with vodka to try to paint on it. And sometimes you'll sculpt something and you'll really love it, but then you are almost nervous about the next step because sometimes
you're out of vodka.
Well,
because you're too drunk to move on.
A little bit for me, a little bit for them.
Yeah. It's just it's good. No, but sometimes you're like, if I paint it, is it going to ruin it? Kind of like I'm sure with carving, right. When you're like, I think this would look cool, but it's either going to make it look awesome or it's going to totally ruin it. It's kind of like that.
Well, I'm there every single week.
Yeah. I feel honestly, art is kind of just always on the brink of failure. You're just one step away from a total hot mess. That's how I feel anyway. Yeah. So you just hope that there's a happy accident. Most of art, in my opinion, most of the stuff I do is a happy accident. Some of the things that I like best maybe weren't supposed to look that way. They just kind of happen that way.
Paul, I got to say, you and I probably go through that all the time, right? I mean, I'd say when you start these carves, it's all happy accidents. It's like we hope to God it turns out the way that it looks presentable, but it's just totally flying blind a little bit, right?
Every Thursday.
Join us next Thursday for another happy accident.
Another episode of Happy Accidents.
Happy little accidents. My question for you guys is, if you are given, you spin the wheel, do you guys ever use expressions or eyes or noses or mouths? Like, do you look up like images of expressions to create or carve?
Sometimes I'll just, for me, generally it's the this area under the eyes, like how the muscle is usually what I'll reference sometimes if I'm stuck. But lately, like because we've been doing it so much, I'll really go in and we'll carve for the show, and we'll rough it out, like get all the main shapes, and then I'll take a break, and sometimes I'll go at it and finish it the next day with fresh eyes, and I'll resculpt the whole thing in a completely different direction without reference. I'll start using the mirror and stuff again. Yeah. So sometimes if I'm using reference to start, it doesn't even translate. Like I'll have a dream, or I'll be like, oh, that's what I need to do, and then the next day I'll come and rip it apart.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, that I do that all the time. Like I'll go to bed and it'll be like 3 a.m. and something's just not sitting right. And then like Jeremy will be like, no, it looks great. And I'm like, no, it looks like
no.
Yeah. And then you go to bed and then you wake up the next day and it's like, you just look at it and you're like, how did I not see that? Like the head, like the back of the head wasn't big enough, or how did I not see that? Like the proportions was off, and that's why it didn't look like that character. Like sometimes you just have to pack it up for the night, and then
that's stepping away is
the
best thing.
One thing I swear we've learned this throughout this show is that a fresh set of eyes. I mean, I've known it before, but I think it's just been reinforced in that every time I leave and come back to something, I see it in a different way. And now, when it's a perishable piece of produce like this, or even like a cake you're working on, there's a finite number of times you can do that. But inevitably, if you do it 2 or 3 times, you're like, oh my God, and you inevitably you always see something that you didn't see before, and you're always amazed by it. I mean, it's like, how did I not see that? I'm so in that same exact mindset.
Yeah. But I also think that there's stuff that, like, I think when you create things, you see things different than other people as well. Like, we notice, like, it's almost like somebody that is really self-conscious about the way they look. They notice, they're like, oh, I have chubby knees. And all their friends are like, I would never have noticed that. But, like, you just notice every finite detail because you just worked on it for such a extended period of time. So.
Yeah, I think that's something that artists don't get enough feedback on, is like the fact of putting it on the wall and somewhere where you walk past it every time, because it's the same process of like when you walk somewhere and you forget what you're doing because you have so many thoughts going on, right? But if you go past it a whole bunch of times, like I'll dream about my work that I was working on. I'll be pushing pixels in my sleep. And I'll be like, oh my God, like, why didn't I do this? So yeah, I think that that's not taught enough to artists to be okay. That's okay to walk away from it.
Yeah. I get really, like, I'm generally pretty happy person, but if I'm frustrated with something and I go to bed, like I'm going to bed angry. But it's almost like fueling the fact that I'm going to fix whatever I can't see at that like particular moment. But yeah, that's why, I mean, cakes and carving fruit, for example, or vegetables, you're right, Matt. Like, you only have so much time. Like, there's only so many times you can go to bed and sleep on it. But even sometimes going for a walk for an hour and coming back, that helps a lot too. So I started something because I'm a cheater and I'm a guest.
Wait! Before you show us, I guess this is no big reveal, but I want people just to maybe Mickey zoom in on Kristen, because I want people to see what she's started, because this is started effectively. This isn't done in any way, shape. When I saw it for the first time, I was like, "Oh my God, you finished?" And she's like, "Oh my God, not even close." So I want to give you a drum roll, but I'm so excited to see this. But let's take a look at what you quote unquote begun working on.
I just hope that people know who it is. So maybe if somebody's watching,
they will.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah.
You guys
Paul,
can
you
guess.
can guess.
I'll guess.
Okay. All right. Ooh. Whoa.
Matt Harper.
It's
Matt
Oh, that's amazing. Maddie, it looks just like you.
It does. I have better teeth now, thank you to dentist down the street here. But other than that,
Wow.
That is
How-
unbelievable.
What's left to do on that? That's insane.
I
Hey,
know.
you guys.
Rocky Road?
Yeah. Rocky Road.
Rocky
But
Road.
the thing you take for granted is like when something's a part of your childhood and someone hasn't seen it, you just, or like my kids being afraid. Like I had a couple like reference pictures and stuff and they were really scared. I'm like, no, like,
No, he's good.
yeah, I'm like, he's a good guy. Like he's got a rough go. He's has some birth defects and he's got an evil
Brother.
adopted mother, but he helps the kids find a treasure and they're all misfits. And yeah, so I was on this mission this year that I was going to make my own birthday cake and I failed. I didn't get around to it. So I just have this like long laundry list of cakes. I don't know if you guys do this, but like I take screenshots all the time of things that inspire me or things that I just am like, that would be a super cool cake. So this has just been on my list for probably 3 years. Just a shy 3 years.
Thank God for Carvers and Creators to help you get there. You know.
I know. I really did need a kick in the bum. I actually, to be honest, I took most of February off from doing stuff. Like I think maybe once every 6 months, I just need to like press the reset button. So it felt good. I mean, I still did some stuff. I kind of stayed off my social media. I did some other cool stuff. I have some cool projects and stuff coming up, but I just really wanted to make a Goonies cake. So, and I didn't want to spin the wheel. So I just did whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Look at that.
So I was going to ask you. So I mean, that's made out of cake, or is it made out of chocolate?
So it's carved cake. I wish I took a picture of the inside. So basically, there's a pole down the center, and then what I do for the soul of it is I use styrofoam and I carve the styrofoam into like the shape of the boot so that it can have sorry, everything's backwards. So it's hard to, but basically I make a styrofoam sole. So it's only thin, but it allows the toe to point upward and have that space there so that it looks more realistic. Cause a lot of times if you see shoe cakes, they're just like so flat to the boards. They just don't have the same feel to them.
Right. Paul, you see a lot of shoe cakes where you live?
Lots of
Do I see a lot of shoe cakes? That's all we have. I can't find anything but shoe cake. I would kill for a glove cake.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly.
That is phenomenal. I mean,
awesome.
the way you make it look so leather-like. I don't know if that's the word.
That's as I say the leather. Yeah, the creases.
The creases and the stitching in the
embroidery work.
It's just crazy. Thanks. That probably looks like it would fit me. I hate to say.
That's like my Achilles heel of cake making is that I don't know if it's like because I'm not a big person, I feel like I have to make big things. I don't know why, but like there's been times where I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a cake that's this big. I mean, he's like still big, but in my head before I started him, he was supposed to be like this big. So I don't know. I think that's probably the advantage to carving pumpkins or squash is like you have what you have. And
yeah, it's a finite size. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
So you do a lot of really big things. I know your big steaks and your
surf and turf. Yeah.
Oh my God, the size of the things you do. We talked, I think, about this last time. You used to work for a steakhouse, right? And you would do something every year for them.
Yeah. So actually, it was really sweet because this year.
Yeah, here we go. Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's a company called McGregor's Steak and Seafood, and they provide the Keg Steakhouse and Bar, which is, I would say, like it's higher end than like the Outback, it's higher end than the Outback, but it's has the same brand name recognition in Canada, and it's such an awesome company to work for. I don't work for them anymore, but anyway, the steak supplier McGregor's, they have like a staff appreciation every year, and it's like such an awesome tradition. And he's Irish, so he like wears his kilt and he comes in playing the bagpipes, and so he really wanted to. Yeah, it's really awesome, and he wanted to do something special. The first year I did a raw New York strip loin, and then. Everybody loved it. Like, he's like, that's what everybody talked about for like a year later. They were still talking about it. And so then the next year I did a giant like ribeye steak, and it was even bigger. And so then it just felt like it was a call to action to just continually make things bigger and bigger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this cake, I actually had to, I baked all the cake, and then I actually had to take it to my parents' house because they have double opening doors, so it wouldn't fit through the threshold. Like, I had to assemble it and make it, but I had to do it on the board. So it's a thick board, and then it had to be transported with two 4x6s underneath with like 2 or 4 people kind of supporting it. And then it was big. It was really big.
That's ridiculous.
Did you display it at the steakhouse? Is that where you displayed it?
No, it's at it was at their staff appreciation at a banquet.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. And then like getting messages from people that work there, like it's just really fun. And this year with COVID, like you just can't have gatherings like that anymore. But it was still so kind. He's like, oh, I miss that we aren't going to be able to do that this year. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question about the way you make? So from a texture perspective, I think you're an absolute expert. You're a genius when it comes to making like a seared steak with the hatch marks and the where the shine is, like on the glistening. You have. I don't want to give any trade secrets away or have you give them away, but what? You have to stare at these pictures. I mean, yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mickey. When you look at the steak and you look at the fat, and this is a cake. Okay, everybody, this is a cake. When you look at it and you see the striations and the crust around the outside and everything, are you taking? Is this what ingredients go into that? I mean, because I know there's fondant and other modeling chocolate, but how do you make it so like? Picture perfect.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. No, so actually, I think we talked about this before the last time I was on. I feel like it's again like a happy accident. So the modeling chocolate naturally is like a fatty, oily material. So you don't want things to be perfect, which I think is when people try to make a steak cake and try to make it look perfect, it's not as successful because food is not perfect in real life. So I used the ivory modeling chocolate for the fat because to me that makes sense. It's off-white, it's not perfect. And then I used fondant and I painted the fondant. So I started with white fondant just because the painting, it's just more effective than trying to use, if I were to try to dye something pink, it would just look, it would look unauthentic. And then one of my favorite things to do is I use vodka and piping gel. So I use piping gel a lot, which is if you go to Dairy Queen and they want to write happy birthday on your cake, they use like colored piping gel, but piping gel can be diluted with vodka and it makes great blood, or like jus or yeah, so I use that for a lot of things, and I use piping gel to like adhere things to cakes. Like it's like kind of like the glue of the cake world. And then a lot of times for like the crust along the outside for any of the cakes, sometimes I'll take like black fondant and I'll leave it out and let it air dry. And then I'll just literally like crumble it into pieces to kind of act as the char. Or sometimes I'll use sprinkles. Like I have like just like brown sprinkles, and I'll just like grind them up and crush them, and then it kind of looks like salt, like pepper or pepper crust. Sometimes for parsley, like I'll use wafer paper, which is like just like a starch based paper, and you can paint it. I use it for lettuce too a lot, but it's just like literally it's just like you can eat it. I don't really want to eat it, but you can eat it and you can paint it and you can mold it, like let it dry onto something to take on the form of, take on the shape of that, or make it look like lettuce. Or a lot of times I'll just paint it green. Sorry, I have an alert there. I'll paint it green and let it lay flat, but then I'll cut it into tiny pieces and make it look like flat leaf parsley. And use that as a garnish. So it's all just kind of like, yeah.
So you become a chemist, basically. You're doing more experiments than somebody working in a lab would do. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. But not everything. Like not everything is obviously successful. This was really fun because I did a raw turkey, which people seem to really like, and so this year we did a cooked turkey. Just because, like, we just made it, like I say, we, like my boys and we made it. But then the best part is that when I went to carve it, it actually had the texture, like I felt like I was carving a turkey. It had the same texture. As carving. It was just super weird. It was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So have you got one specific, like one of those, have you got one food carving that is your favorite? Because I know you've done stacks of pancakes, you've done, the surf and turf, you've done these turkeys. Do you have one that's just like your favorite that you've done?
Oh man. I think my favorite, you mean for food cake or just in general?
Yeah, I'm thinking food cake. Just like
my favorite is the burger. My favorite's the burger. I couldn't really think, but my favorite's the burger.
Okay. And that was massive, right? Oh, look at the hand. Look at Mickey showing you guys. Look at that. That's cake. That's insane.
Yeah, but that's so the lettuce is wafer paper, and you lay it over aluminum foil, and then you paint it and you let it set and dry. And then I dyed modeling chocolate orange, and then I actually just used my torch and like torched it so it would melt. Yeah, so it was like a experiment too. And my oldest son had one of his friends over while I was making it because I made it for my sister. And my oldest son's like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I guess it looks okay. And then his friend's like, that's awesome. He went home and told his mom. And I'm like, my kids are not nice. They're like super critical.
I haven't won a carving contest with Matt in months because my son judges them after the show.
Oh.
Yeah. So once everybody posts, he's like, Dad, let me see all three. So, well, sometimes it's three if the guest carves. And I won't tell him which one it is, but he always knows. Like he'll either sneak down or I'll have it floating around for a day, the carving. And 9 times out of 10, Maddie wins.
He's just doing it to get to you. There's zero reason other than that. He knows
I showed him. He lives in the basement now. He lost his
like sloth.
Yes.
See, it's all coming together. Mickey, I just saw Tater Edwards, who was Kristen's teammate, just chimed in. There we go.
Hey, Tater. What's up, buddy?
Look at that.
Tater.
Look at that. Dude, and that guy goes up to Alaska every year. Besides his pumpkins, he goes up to Alaska every year and carves ice for months, it seems like. I don't know. He's always up there around this time of year, which is commendable because I hate the cold. So forget it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
I think I think it's awesome how like you guys have such a supportive, awesome community of carvers, whether it be snow or wood or pumpkin. I think that's so awesome that everybody just kind of like supports. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple bad eggs here and there, but it overall looks like a really supportive community of artists. And I think that that's awesome. I mean, the cake world has that too. It just seems like for how many of us there are, there's maybe not as many supportive people. I don't know. But anyway, I was super jealous of you, Tater, when you posted the Northern Lights. I think that was super cool to be able to see that. But I agree with Matt. I don't envy being in the frigid temperatures up there.
Which you happen to live in 24/7. You know.
Yes.
At least lately. Yeah, but Alaska's a whole nother cold. But yeah, I'm dude. I couldn't agree with you more, Kristen, when it comes to like the community that we've gotten to know. So we started out like just with a couple of pals, and it's grown. And what we found, like unequivocally, and Paul backed me up on this, it's like the support you get from people that are like-minded from a sculpting perspective or creative perspective is just mind-blowing. Everyone's so open and giving and just like free with their time, and they talk about the tools, and it's for like, we're a couple of fanboys. At least I'll say I am when it comes to like all of these clay sculptors, and everybody we have on are people that we admire, and it's just been a really fun journey through this whole little COVID BS. So
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, as far as supportive, Mike Perry from Grey House Studios just sent me a set of reference teeth that
I saw that.
It was so nice when, like, just out of the blue, he just said, "I've been meaning to send you something, so look out for it." Just because I remember we had a discussion about how he uses the molds that he makes. He can shrink down with some specific product, so it shrinks uniformly, so he can make different size casts of the same object. And he does that with his teeth. So I was like blown away by it.
Yeah.
He was, talk about being supportive. I mean, now I got a set of chompers to use for reference.
I know, I love it.
But I think to get better, it only benefits you to surround yourself with people who you admire. Like, I just think no matter what you're doing, I feel like there's an opportunity to, be inspired by what somebody else is doing.
Paul, here's a set of those teeth. I don't know how he does it, but
yeah, that's right. Yeah, look how awesome! Look at those teeth.
I mean, I guess I'll just show this camera.
Hey, he's missing something.
But they're perfect. They seem and look and feel like actual real teeth. I mean, I'm again just going back to the theme of just the support from this community. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's funny that you say teeth, because I've had this sitting here for like forever, and these are actually my teeth. I've actually had this from my dentist, and I'm like, I'm gonna do something with this. I've had it probably for like 20 years. These are my teeth, so I've had a reference right next to me for a couple decades.
And someday
that's the thing. I have like little things I want to do stuff with, and I never do. And I'm like, this is kind of stuff that inspires me.
That's great.
I think I have some in my drawer. Let me just see.
Who knew? Up until
everyone's got a
I didn't have any teeth in my house. So look at Maddie, huh? Matt making some serious progress.
It's rough. But I'm thinking of making a hat. I don't know if it's going to translate, but I'm, how they all wear a dumb little hat.
Yep.
These leprechauns. So I don't know. That's kind of where my brain went to first, is the leprechaun hat. And then ears. They have big pointy ears. I got to probably glue those on.
Do they?
Don't they?
Kristen, we lost Kristen. She'll have to jump back in.
Yeah. The camera loves Kristen, and it just shut down when she left.
It got depressed. It did.
As soon as she's not talking, it's over. Yeah. I gotta be careful not to make this guy an evil Santa. That's kind of
Yes, it's
a fine line between clever and stupid, you know.
I walk it every day, Matt. I walk it every day.
You guys.
Hey, you know what I thought was really funny, Mickey, is when she referenced that one time that you carved with us.
How about that? No, it's so funny because I'm trying to figure out a way that I can get back into it, but still run the show and still do all the work I need to do. What I think I need to do is, if you'll pardon the pun, I need to carve out some time for myself.
Whoa!
Bing bong.
Boom. And I need to definitely do something, because one of the things that I keep on seeing is everybody loves like the typography ones. And so I really need to do that. I need to start honing in on that and then start working on faces. Every time I see you guys carving, I'm literally like a student. I'm seeing how you make the shapes of your eyes and stuff like that, squinting to like open-eyed to like sleepy. So, so I'm starting to really get into this.
Hey,
Kristen, the camera loves you. It said like you left, and it said like, yeah, I'm out.
No, I feel so bad.
Canada.
I was like texting on my cool, and then it.
Yep. All your minutes are up on your internet. So,
but I'm back.
All right, good.
I'm going to send her an AOL CD.
Yeah.
Or DVD or whatever they call those.
Is it a Blu-ray at this point?
That's right.
I don't know. I'm gonna come back in. Okay, I'll leave and come back.
No, you're good.
Or
go. However you want to work it.
Awesome.
There's something I said.
I have my husband's teeth from when he was a teenager. Nice. See, we all have those references.
I feel like I'm so late to this very strange party.
Okay, now I'm actually back.
Hey,
perfect.
Welcome back.
Oh,
yes.
The hubby made an entrance there. We got caught.
Yeah, because
come in here and say hello.
We're dealing with like poop situations before bed. It's a real glamour situation over here. Yeah.
See, I'm gonna blame Ryan. I'm gonna blame Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, that Canadian internet.
Oh yeah.
Kristen,
good to see you, Ryan.
Kristen, another Canadian, just said hello. Ryan Villers just said hello.
Hey.
Yes. Hello.
Amazing.
So
guy. Amazing.
We're Facebook. Ryan and I are Facebook and Instagram buds now.
Oh, I love it. See, we got a small community. It's all family here. We just, we're all whatever.
Whatever, dude.
Whatever you people call it.
Now it sounds more like family. Whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
One of the things I think's funny is like with my like social media stuff on my Instagram, for example. Sometimes I think because I'm a cake account, people want to see cakes instead of like sculpted things, and that's why I like that I as my network of clay artists and wood artists and all that kind of stuff. I like that grows because I like doing I'd rather do what I love to do than do what typically people want to see on a cake page. And
great example, Mickey. Look at that thing. That's not what people normally look for when they, if you're getting married and you ask for that cake, I gotta, have you check out a couple of consultants, or what do they call the people that help people?
Motivational speakers.
No, like when you're a
concierge
therapist.
Therapist.
Oh. The grossest part about this cake was that can you see like all the hair? Can you see it like draping down the side and on the top?
Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah,
it was disgusting because it's corn silk, and then I drenched it in food coloring, and it looked like the stuff you pull out of your drain, like put on a cake.
Oh god,
awesome.
Yeah. Super appetizing.
The hair makes it though. The hair and the teeth
totally
kind of make that thing just extra sick. What What's the eye made of? Just like sugar?
The eye is I have like isomalt. I have like a silicone dome, and so I just poured isomalt into the dome and then popped it out, and then I put I just like used wafer paper and fondant in behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so this one fascinates me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. Are those
we're
real
all
coffee beans?
love skulls.
Yeah. This is one of my, like, I really loved this one as well. And so I spent a long time because every single bean I made by hand. Like, I feel like it's just like there's a fine line between insanity and genius. And I feel like this cake is proof of that. So I hand sculpted every bean, and I did them out of I can't even remember if I did them out. I think I did them out of fondant, not modeling chocolate.
Good Lord.
But I hand placed every single one, and it looked bad. Like, it looked really, really bad, and I was really disappointed. So then I went in with some like highlighting dust, and then like it really started to come together, and I was happy. But again, you spend like 10 hours on something and then you don't like it. That's like the stressful part, because you're like, I can't get that time of my life back. And I really love coffee a lot. So I feel like this was a
labor of love.
It was a labor of love. Yeah. I saw this meme, and it's like cracked sidewalk, and it's like a Band-Aid between the cracked sidewalk, and it's like me holding things together with coffee, my life together with coffee. I was like, yep, that's what we're doing.
I thought they were real coffee beans until this moment.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I'm like, oh, okay, how cool. You coated it, and that's full-on cake. You can eat every bite of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's even better.
Is there at least a dowel in it?
Yeah. So almost everything, like this sloth head as a good example. Actually, I'm getting my 2020 goal, because, I had so much going on, but my 2020 goal was to be handier. And Matt, I will always bring this up when we were filming Halloween Wars together. And I was like so desperate. I was like, can you just cut this for me? And you helped me, but I was like, I don't want to be reliant on anybody ever again, even though I'm eternally grateful, Matt. So now I've started using like threaded rods so that I can make. I'm gonna go get them. I'll be right back. I'll show you.
Okay.
All right, the camera's gonna get sad again.
I know.
Kim's gonna throw us all out of here. Yeah, she's not allowed to leave.
I know. At least be somewhere in the frame, please.
Oh yeah.
So this guy that I made at Christmas, and he's still kicking around.
Oh my God. Okay.
He's still there, but he's like totally like cut open, and like there's his cake. So like I made the snow is like just sugar because I didn't want to waste fondant. But so for him, he is threaded rods, and then kind of at his waist level, I have like a piece of wood covered in aluminum tape and then foiled to be food grade safe. And then up through his middle is obviously a rod as well. So so almost everything I do, because after X amount of years of cakes that have fallen apart, or like I'm like, maybe it doesn't need that pipe, but it's getting it, because driving with cake is probably the most stressful thing that's ever happened in my life, and it happens all the time. And you just don't want it to break or fall down.
That's funny you say that. The armatures. I swear on that show I spent more time making armatures than I ever did with pumpkins. It was crazy.
Well, I don't think a lot of people realize how heavy the cake gets very fast. I mean, cake is dense. You add the frosting, then you add the fondant, then you add modeling chocolate, which you, depending on how big it is, it's either Rice Krispie treats under it or just a solid block of chocolate, right?
Yeah.
That stuff. I mean, how much does sloth there weigh? I'm assuming it's at least 10 pounds, right? Okay, so 20 pounds. That looks heavy.
I would say he's like 15 pounds probably.
Wow.
Yeah, but it gets really heavy. And recently I did something where I had to guesstimate, like something had to move, and I had to guess, like, is this going to be 200 pounds? Is it going to be 100 pounds?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's just hard because I don't, maybe I'm just not good at estimating, but it's just, you think something's going to be a certain weight and it always ends up substantially heavier than intended, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on it, and under its own weight is usually what happens, right? That's how you get the crack, or it'll sag in one section. So
yeah, and honestly, that's why I use modeling chocolate a lot. If it's something sculpted that there is, like, everybody watches cake shows and they love the drama of like the front of the face falling off. And like you see the rice cereals and it's like falling apart. But like modeling chocolate, if you can lock the modeling chocolate around itself, then it locks itself. It just locks itself in. And when it gets room temperature, it hardens. Sometimes it almost feels like a bar of soap. Like it's like as firm as a bar of soap. But typically when I started using modeling chocolate, because I didn't know how to do anything. So I just kind of learned stuff as I went. But I didn't know you could put modeling chocolate in a microwave. So like I would make a cake. Yeah. Like, so I tried to make my own for a while, but it's just really hard to keep it consistent. And that's why I prefer to buy it. It's not even like a time thing. It's not a financial thing. It literally is just for consistency. That's why I choose to just buy it, because I know that I'm getting a consistent product every time and that I can master how to use that consistency. But it's like if I would be like, my hands would be in pain because I'd be kneading it so much. And now that I know you can microwave it, I mean, if you microwave it too long, it
melts or
separates.
Melt your hands off.
Yeah.
But now I do.
Wow. One of the things when we were on the show too, I'd never lifted heavy cakes, let alone, I mean, I created like a armature for it, like Big Rabbit or whatever we were making, and these aren't small. These are on the show. It's like 3, 4, 5 feet tall, and these are and then you have to pick the damn thing up in a mid form. I won't say they're done, but they're pretty close, and you several people and just determining where the weight is. Like usually they're very top heavy. So it is a challenge. So I'll say that's one part of those shows that is pretty spot on is that the tension of trying to get something moved and like you said, moving it in a car to go bring it to somebody, or taking it from your car to their the location. Those are all like real things because it's such unwieldy, but it all kind of gets solved with a really good armature.
Yeah, well, and I made a bagpipe cake recently, and that was my biggest like fail because.
Which one?
The bagpipe. It was supported.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it looked awesome, but the one thing, so I used like a threaded dowel because I wanted the mouthpiece to be small, and then I used a board. Anyway, whatever. But what I didn't account for was when you're making a cake like this, if I used a threaded rod, overall it's centered where this was not centered. So I put it in like the van for transport and I'm driving and it starts doing this. Like the back end is swinging.
It's like
you gotta lock it in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I honestly I was like I tightened it. Anyway, it was like it just sucks when you're like, I think I've nailed this whole armature thing, and then
one dimension of it starts going the wrong way. Yeah. Oh my god.
But honestly, who's like, oh, one day I will make a bagpipe cake? Like nobody's planning on.
Yeah, you better know how to do that, right?
Yeah. So I'm only human, and
exactly.
Well, the next time you make a bagpipe cake, you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for like 2045 when somebody asks me to make a bagpipe cake.
Like, oh, I got this. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was super cool.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was so we did because everything with the pandemic was in lockdown and like super restricted. That was my son's 7th birthday cake, and we
Lucky
had
him.
we had his entire birthday party outside. And they played street hockey, and they're all guys from my son's hockey team. And so I was like, they have the cutest pictures of the kids with the cake, and they like are so proud because they all like aspire to, be in the NHL.
To win the cup. Yeah.
Pardon?
They all aspire to win the cup. Sorry.
Yeah. But I couldn't post any of the pictures with the kids because I didn't want, like people, everybody's got opinions. And they're being safe, but I don't want to be judged for not being safe enough. So
I think that you should post, all of us should post pictures like that. And then when those people have those opinions, it's like weeding the lawn. You don't need those people around. Let them all get their own island.
Yeah. It's so hard when, that's why I like what we do. To each their own, but I could never be, hey, I'm going to be an influencer. Like I just couldn't do that. Like in my mind, the thing that I love about Instagram or about Facebook is it's almost like brings you back to the day when you were in kindergarten and you could be like, hey, it's like show and tell, like, hey, look what I made. And then people can be like, yeah, that's really cool that you made that. Like, I don't like the like conflict and like, people can be so mean when they're sitting behind a screen. So.
Yep. They need their own island.
Yeah.
Well, you and I will get the moving trucks ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Cranky island, miserable island.
Yeah.
Sometimes feel like doing this.
They'll have to, and we'll give them the worst internet connection, so they'll just lose their minds that they can't troll everybody or have an opinion.
Yell at anyone.
That'll show them.
Yeah.
I remember that one. That one's.
Well, what was the motivation behind this one? Because I'd love to know why. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I just want to know what makes you think to slice it up.
So I found like a graphic, like a clip art, and it was very simple. Like it didn't look anything like this, but it was like a doll or something, and she had like a bob, but her face was in sections. And so I was like, I wonder if I can structure it so there's a pole kind of at the back of the head, and the way that I've angled, like, so there's a board and cake on top of each level, but I'm like, I wonder if I can, if I put screws between each level to give a gap and then take a picture in a way that it looks like it's floating. Right. So again, like I'll take screenshots of like, I don't know. I have I can't even tell you how many pictures I have on my phone because it's like I think it might be a hoarding disorder where I like hoard pictures on my phone. Yeah. But yeah, I just see things and then I just feel inspired. So then I just make my own spin on it. But this was a Halloween cake that I did. And honestly, I didn't do it for anybody. I just did it because I wanted to do it. And I can't remember who it is, but somebody that I follow on Instagram said that if you want to make more of what you love, then make more of what you love, and the right people that value that material will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because they're a fan of your work, and you're doing the work that you like to do, right?
Yeah, because there are times where somebody says, can you make this, especially with like wedding cakes and things. And I'm like, honestly, it's just. Could I easily learn how to make gum paste flowers? Yes, but do I want to? Like, no. I'd rather make 6,000 coffee beans by hand than make a gum paste flower.
Now, did you make the whole face and then cut it into segments, or was each segment separate?
Yeah, each segment was separate. So I built my structure, and then I started I made the mouth, and then when I was happy with the mouth, then I made the nose area. So I just kind of worked my way up.
That's impressive.
Sally actually has a question for you. Wants to know if you were in kindergarten at HCCS. Were you really good at art?
Oh,
I think that's very personal, right?
Yes.
One knows.
So when I was growing up, This is kind of like when I was growing up, my mom made homemade bread. And so I have pictures of like me baking in the kitchen with my mom. And then I never really thought of anything of it again. And then my dad used to do sand sculptures when I was growing up. He made like a motorcycle in the sand, like as kids. And I remember we would, wake up the next day and go back down to the beach, and we'd be upset because I'd be like, those teenagers are ruining my dad's sand sculpture. And he would always draw things. So I feel like where I am now is kind of a blend of like my mom inspired me to bake, and then my dad inspired me to create. And so yeah, like when I was younger, I did go to HTCS at a little school in the country, and I always like, there's, I don't know if you guys had this, but like the school fall fair, like I would, win the painting contest or so
that's awesome.
Sometimes it just takes a while to come back to it because until I was 30. So from probably the time I was 20 to 30, I did very few creative things. Like, I think I just was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I think Paul's in the same boat. I mean,
Same exact thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You start a family, you start getting serious with a career, you go through college, whatever it is. And for whatever reason, you put art to the back burner. And I honestly, if there's a regret, I'd say that'd be one of mine, is that I wish I had just stuck with the thing I love to do the most, which is art. And and I am so envious of people who had like no other backup plan. That's all they wanted to do.
Yeah.
It comes with pitfalls, it comes with problems, but man, it's just like, if you could just say that's all I ever wanted to do and I did it. And I think I knew that in my head. Mm-hmm. And I still this is not a full-time thing. It just clearly, I mean, but it's something that I just, I can't get enough of creating stuff. It's just, I'm again very envious of people who just knew it early and said, this is my only plan.
Yeah. I think we probably knew it, but I think I always felt like, but like, what's your real job going to be?
Right.
Or
exactly. Your parents kind of
like, like if you go to school for accounting, that there's a lot of different areas of accounting or a lot of accounting firms you could work for. But when you go to school for art, and it's something so broad, you're like, am I just going to work in a quiet art gallery? And I'm not a quiet person. Like, I could never work unless I was giving tours and talking nonstop. I just really thought that was the only thing. And sometimes, especially when you're in your like 19, 20, or like, it's the uncertain is so scary. So you just assimilate to what you think you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to like. And I think, Instagram and even like Food Network having carving shows on it, and really like even, cooking shows and cake shows. Like there's so many, my friends have so many daughters that like, it's so nice. Like my girlfriend, Nicola, her daughter in school this year during virtual schooling said, like, it's like, what do you want to be? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up and why? She's like, I want to be a cake artist like my mom's friend because she's really talented and to buy a house.
Wow.
And so I just think it's so nice that there are all these different avenues that can that inspire, the kids that maybe we were that felt like, what are you doing? Like, get a real job.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, because I think, this is the time for this time in life, like the 2000s is definitely the time for the artistic kids to shine.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, because that's what I said when I was growing up. Being an artist was like, it was hippie-ish. It wasn't a job. It was just a way of, like the people that I was learning from, I was 7, and I'm sure that they were just teaching me like oil painting and pottery and stuff like that. And nothing was for commercial stuff. You could just tell that they were probably smoking pot all day and just taught classes during the day. So, but now, due to Food Network, due to other things, like these people are now rock stars. They're artists too, and they're considered that. And I really wish, and like with Instagram as well, like you see all these people, putting out their work and putting out their talent. God, I that's always something I aspired to. Yeah, I was lucky where it's like, it was the only skill I had. So I had to make it. Like you guys say that you guys missed out during that period. I mean, I did it, but I was like, I wasn't good at it. I got better at it, but I was really, I just learned everything I could and just really got jumped into it and said like, you know what, this is the only thing I can do as a skill. So.
Yeah. Nick, I saw the painting when you were 7 years old. So
yeah.
Cut it out. All right.
Well, you're being modest.
Well,
super modest.
It's funny because when I show people that, they're really amazed at it. But I didn't have somebody that could mentor me at that time, that could say like, "Hey, you're really good at this. You should do this." So I fledgled for a long time. Luckily, I kind of just figured it out on my own, but it took me, longer than it probably expected because I didn't go to school, but here I am all these years later. Yeah. And my first mentor says right here, patient and persistence. Absolutely. So, I mean, it was literally the only thing I could do in life. So, and look at this. So you guys are still doing it today, like literally today. You guys are still doing it. So you guys win.
Yeah. I think Satan for everything.
Hail Santa.
Hail Santa.
I just want to. So I thought that. So I actually did go to university. In my first year of university, I had a couple different art professors, and the thing that bothered me the most was, like, when you know what good art is, and there was just a lot of, like, I feel bad because this is a family show, but there's just so much bullshit. Like, there were so many people that would make something and they would tell this big weird story, and the professors would be like, "This is genius." And I was like sitting there, like I was sitting there being like, "This is garbage." Like, I'm sorry, you can package it however you want, but like this. So I really struggled with that. Like, I felt like I was in this, and I wasn't getting any direction. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I can create what you want me to create. But like, how are you mentoring or teaching me anything? So I kind of just coasted through until I could get out. Like, because I was like, well, my parents have paid this much money, and sorry, Mom, if you're watching, but yeah, it wasn't the best experience. And maybe that's why I was turned off of it even more. Like, when you don't have somebody, Mickey, I know you said that you had a mentor, and like, I think that's just, and I think even in this community, like, having somebody to look up to is just so important, or somebody that shares their secrets with you or can give you provide constructive feedback, because nobody wants like the shit sandwich, like, no, that's great, and you're like, I know
I don't even think that Jody even realizes, like, her and her husband were my mentors. I don't think they realize it, and I didn't realize it either at the time. I just got the opportunity to do what I was meant to do. And that was, I realized it later when I was like, I think it was like in 97 when I finally knew that I was ready to like move to Los Angeles and kind of take that next step. And so that was, that's where I kind of knew it. And like, what college course says that, oh, one day you can make sloth cakes and make a living out of it. There's no curriculum out there that says that.
Or a stitched together cake with corn silk, dirty hair. I mean, I think that's the part that I love the most about this. The thing we've done here with the show is I think we're finally, to me, it's enjoying the process. It's enjoying kind of like just continuing to grow at it. I mean, I swear in the last couple of years, I think I've exponentially grown as an artist. But it's like keeping the kind of childlike awe of all of the people the inspiration that we get from my Instagram. And I don't want to give Instagram a plug or anything, but it's so true, because now I can like go on there and be inspired, like, oh my God, that's amazing. And now on top of that, we've known these people, we've interacted with them and had great shows with them. So I'm like even more blessed that we can say we've had discussions with the people that are literally our idols in some of this space. So it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, I think that's been the best for me is like what we're doing right now. So the four of us sitting here and nobody's doing he's an artist or she's an artist. I grew up with a good friend of mine was an artist and his father used to do that. My son's an artist. And I'd be like, geez, that's really, I don't ever want anybody to do that to me.
Right.
So like you said, it was always like hippie-ish back then. It wasn't something that you could be unless you were just like Andy Warhol and hit it big on us.
Oh yeah, unless you were painted a clock and had a pension, that's not a real job.
Right.
How you gonna buy a house painting watercolors?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean that's just great, and all this talent, got you on these these shows that you guys were on. So so you have a lot to be thankful for, and but then again, it's like you also know that world and say like, hey, there's other things out there too. I mean, like we get a kick doing the show every week, so Paul, if Food Network reach out to you tomorrow and said like, we want you to be on this show, what would you say? Yeah?
No, I'd say no right now. No, I got things going on right now. I have a stress level that I can almost maintain, and that's a lot of stress in a short amount of time for my situation to lose the financial. I mean, you're taking the chance. You're betting on yourself to win, mm-hmm. But if I had to blow a week's vacation to film a show, I don't know. Right now, it just doesn't make sense. I'm having way more fun doing this.
Yeah.
I think the assumption is that when you do a show that you're paid. I
think everybody needs to know you don't get paid unless you win.
And the other reality, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but like sometimes things happen and it's not always about what you make. Sometimes things happen and they make the decisions. Here's an example not related to a show I was on so that I don't feel bad for
there you go.
Something out of line. I was watching a gingerbread cookie showdown or something, and there was a woman on there and she was so insanely talented and her work was so meticulous. But her work it didn't match the other two displays. And I think in the finale, because every week whoever won that episode with 3 people went on to like the finale with the 3. So it was like, whatever. I honestly think she was voted out because they were like, well, I think the finale will have more harmony if like these 3 are together. Like sometimes there is some strategy involved. And that's the thing that's really tough because I think it can be a huge blow to your self-esteem. And there's a definite difference between what you would do at home and create and what you would create on TV. Like there's no part of me that's like, something that I did on TV and I'm like, yeah, like I did this. Look at it's more like, I did that, but it was 5 hours. I did the best I could and I was lucky to make it on to the next round. But it can be tough on your self-esteem. It can crush your nerves because it's so nerve-wracking. Yeah. You're away from your support network and then you're just literally like rolling the die and hoping that you win.
Yeah.
Right. You know what always bothers me the most, especially with shows like that, is the panel of judges. Well, 2 out of the 3 judges. One's always the expert, right? The one that really their opinion matters. And then the other 2 are fluff.
Yes, I know.
And that bothers me sometimes when you get critiqued by like the kid from Stranger Things who can't freaking turn an oven on and he's critiquing something.
Oh, yeah. I'll agree with that. Yep. That is hard. You know what kills me? And Matt, I know you haven't been on the show, but I hope one day you are. But Outrageous Pumpkins, when I watched that, like we watched your season, Paul, but even last season, when I saw how cold it was, I was like, nope. If I was the most amazing pumpkin carver in the world, I could never do that show. It is way too cold. It's like November. It's not happening.
Yeah, they got hammered with the cold. It was like record-breaking cold for when they filmed.
But
and
you can see their noses running. It's like oh my God, if their noses are running and they're bundled in complete and they're outside and having to carve. I mean, it's not easy to carve at your kitchen table with a drink in your hand, let alone all those things, plus
Yeah.
being judged, plus the clock, plus it's
Yeah, and that show's legit too. Like, there was a giant clock standing in front of you, and somebody kept yelling to you about how much time you had left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I got a nice sunburn out of it. I got,
you're
the Irish suntan. Casey Webb at the time was the host, and he offered me sunblock, and like when we stopped filming for him, he's like, "You have a line directly down your face, and one side is red and one side is not." I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll just have to turn this way a little bit more when we start."
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mickey.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
I was going to say, does that mean it was warm, or does that just mean it was sunny?
Just means it was sunny. Because I was bundled, you're bundled up. The only thing exposed is your head and your hands.
Wow.
Matt,
I guess the only advantage to that is that when you're carving pumpkins, you're not like I have left my pumpkins out on the front porch and gone to carve them, not anytime in recent years, but gone to carve them, and you want to like scoop out the insides and they're freezing. At least you're, for the most part, not dealing with that, right?
Well, yeah, the first round we had to make a jack-o'-lantern. The first day of my season wasn't all that cold. It was in the 40s, so
it's cold.
Well, 40s and sunny is balmy, right, Kristen? That's downright manageable.
Yeah, there used to be this reality show, and I'm spacing the name. It wasn't. I'm looking it up. It wasn't Work of Art, which was I think. Yeah, it was only on that was on Bravo. Well, anyway, they put all these artists together, and they had this like artistic challenge, and then they would be judged by these art critics, and then they'd move on and everything. And it was weird and I would lose my mind every time I watched it. But it wasn't that show. I think it was another show anyway. But they had this part of the show where they would work on their they would give them like the topic of whatever they're gonna make, and then they would have time to make it, and they show them all making it. But the thing that drove me crazy about it was like at some point at the night, either 11 or midnight, they would go, okay, now we're going to close up the shop and you have to come back in the morning. And I'm like, that's BS, because every artist works through the night to get their stuff done for the morning.
Is that Face Off?
It might have been.
That sounded like Face Off.
It sounds like it.
It might have been.
3, 2, 1, hands off. Crazy. All right, that's it for the day. We got to come back in.
Right when you're hitting your mojo and you're like exactly in the zone, you're like, okay, I got this. And go home. You're like, no.
Yeah, because that's what artists do. They go home and go to sleep and get rest and everything.
But
that was my favorite show for a while.
Kristen, what about you? Do you seem like you don't do that?
So I spend a lot, like most of the cakes that I do, like I have a TV in my kitchen because it makes me feel like there's somebody awake with me. So usually I will work through the night, but if something's not working out, like I think we talked about before, like I have to take a break. But I have filmed a TV show where they decided to put a half-hour break in between. So it looks like it's a continuous 5 hours, but there's a break in it. But the advantage to that is it wasn't like a solo, like I had a team of people with me. So it's a really great opportunity to be like, okay, we need to regroup. Like, what are we behind on? What do we need to work on? What, like, if we can somehow pivot and add something or change something that's going to give us an advantage, what can we do? So in that instance, I was actually kind of happy to be forced to take a break. But yeah, in general, I'll just like, if I had to, I'd work 20 hours in a row and then I'd just drink coffee and water and just power through.
100%. That's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
I got to ask a question, Kristen, when it comes to the shows you've been on, and you've been on a number, including recently, in fact, you're supposed to be on our show and got called away by the powers that be to be on another one. So, and we're ecstatic for you. We can't wait to see what happens. But when it comes to like to doing those shows in the age of COVID, are you like sequestered, or are you doing things that are just completely? Because I know you've been on shows when prior to COVID. Are you doing? Is it a very big difference? From a competition perspective.
Sorry, Matt. Can you just rephrase that for me?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get it. Okay.
No, it might be me.
That was like an 8-part question.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what to answer.
Okay. No,
Hello.
I was asking, like, doing shows now in COVID versus before. Is it a vast difference?
Yeah. So
Or
one of the things that I've struggled with is I think that there are people who do shows because they want to, like, again, yeah, it's super cool to be on TV. But for me, like, the reason that I love doing competition shows, even though they don't necessarily like highlight my portfolio, but it's all about like the experience and like, when I left, this is kind of crazy. When I left my 9-to-5 job, I said, yeah, like my goal, I want to be on Cake Wars. Like I said that to one of my best friends and colleagues, Krista. And I said, I'm going to be on Cake Wars. And then literally within a year, I was on Halloween Wars, which is a higher rated multiple episode show. So I feel like I accomplished that goal. But for me, it's always just about like, how is this real life? Like, this is so cool. Like, not everybody gets to do stuff like this. And so it's all about the experience. So I was a little bit bummed when COVID hit because I actually had an opportunity to be on like a team with somebody that, Matt, that you and I were on Halloween Wars with. And it filmed in LA, but because I'm Canadian, they wouldn't take me. And then they were casting.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they were casting for a really cool Netflix show where they paired engineers and cake artists together to make moving cakes. They wouldn't take me because I'm Canadian. So I feel like I was kind of like down in the dumps about like, I just, I love being a mom and I love being around my kids all the time, but it's all the time this year. And sometimes it's nice to have something for yourself. So COVID did something good for me because I had the opportunity to compete on a show sometime this past year. And the only reason that I got to compete was because I was a break glass in case of emergency type person. So it is very different though. Like, it's just, you don't have the opportunity to meet the other teams because you can't go near them. You have to wear like 2 masks and a shield. And it's very different. But still like really, really cool. So
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a question out there. How will the show fare due to COVID?
Yeah.
Terry Harden says it's happening. Just wondering at what capacity.
Terry?
Terry's on. We love Terry. She's awesome.
The show that I was on? I
believe so. Is it yeah. So maybe they can put in the comments which show.
Yeah, here in Canada. So I hope this is answering the question. So here in Canada, TV production, just because the revenue that it generates, it was considered essential. But I think some shows, for example, I think that were supposed to film last summer have just recently filmed. So they're so far behind. I know like Big Brother Canada, they had to immediately stop production. So they had all these people living in a house. They voted out. I don't even know. I don't watch the show, but not that I don't like it. I just don't watch it. So they had to send everybody home. And so just last night, out of fascination over like, what are they going to do? They've brought all these people in. But again, everything is like, TV needs to forge on and they need to make money. And if you are ever a part of a TV production and you see, I know like Matt and Paul, you guys can attest, like the sheer volume of people that are involved in the production and the money that they invest in that production, it really does give you some insight of like what the return on that investment is. It must be quite large. So I think the industry is forging ahead, but everything is like, we just have to preface Everybody's, gone through like COVID testing. We've taken all these measures. Like everybody's so afraid to offend. And you have to stand like, the judges usually come into your business and ask you questions and bug you, but they don't do that much because they don't want that much exposure, and it's from far. So it's kind of to your, like this, the last show that I filmed was actually kind of wonderful because nobody was bugging me. Oh, outrageous pumpkins.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I mean, and I'm 100% sure it's also liability.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of liability right now. Who knows what all that's about? So, yeah,
Hey,
it's a touchy subject.
Before we go, Mickey, I know we're getting close to time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got other things to share. About
I do. I have a ton of stuff.
I want everybody on this. Yeah. Oh my God. All right. I want everybody that is watching us now to, if you're not following her, follow Kristen, but just stay in awe of her sculpture the way we are. I mean, this is cake. This is cake, everybody.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Then I have a few that I've showed already. The bagpipes. Yeah, you showed this before. Robots. Christmas Story.
That one, oh my God.
That's so good. I'm just how ornate.
Yeah, that's the one. That's hands down my favorite. Right. What was the inspiration for that? That there had to be something.
This is actually one of my favorites as well because I really love elephants, but also because I was part of a collaboration with some amazing cake artists, and I was so honored to be asked from like everywhere, South America, Europe, Canada, US, like from everywhere. And every year they come up with a theme, and so it's Sugar Spooks. If you want to check it out, they have an Instagram like hashtag and Facebook page and everything. But this year they were doing Carnival, so evil circus or evil carnival. And so I was late to the party, and so I was like, ticket, like all the kind of, the sword swallower or like the ticket, the evil ringmaster. A lot of those characters were gone, and so I just felt like I wanted to make an elephant, and I just did some research, and I found a really eerie story about an elephant called Murderous Mary, and she was an Asian elephant. And when the circus used to come into the town, I think it was like 1913, the circus would parade with all the characters and all the animals into town, and Murderous Mary was newer, and I'm sure ripped from her family and babies. And she was marching into town, and she flipped her trainer off of her back and stepped on his head and crushed him. And so an elephant is so large that it's very difficult to kill an elephant. And so they used a train crane and they hanged her. They actually, so my whole story was that, all the animals that are in circuses, Murderous Mary is still like haunting all those evildoers that are keeping animals in captivity, because I think that's really sad.
Wow. What a great story.
Yeah.
Even better cake.
Yeah.
and if you want to talk about like nerve-wracking, like again, talking about like jigging stuff up, like I actually hung it like on a screw off the wall. So it's,
oh my God.
I was really like hoping a prayer that it wasn't gonna break.
As Matt and Paul said, it's all about the picture. As long as you got the picture, you're good.
You get the picture that there's no screw.
Like step away for 2 seconds and then take a picture, and then it just all comes crashing down. At least you have the documentation that it actually worked for 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. And I wanted to show this next level Halloween picture.
Every year.
Fantastic.
Every year she does it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the best part about this is they have a Kiss. So I'm old school, and Scooby-Doo is my favorite cartoon growing up. And so they have a Kiss themed cartoon. They also have like a Bobby Flay one and Kiss and a wrestler one. And so my kids, when we drive up to the cottage, they will watch. They were obsessed with this Kiss Scooby-Doo. So my son with the stars on his pants, that's my oldest Dax, he would talk to his friends like Star Child and like telling all these stories about this band and like in their mind it's like super current. But so when they said that, that's usually I'm like, okay, like we'll do one costume that like what mom wants to do, and then we'll do one costume that they want to do. But this was just perfect. So and my youngest wouldn't wear the Kiss costume, so he's just like the groupie or the roadie or
the roadie.
Yeah, I was like, I can't invest that much time in a costume when he's just going to rip it off and cry. So
he's the manager. Good band.
There you go.
But I also like that like girls are wearing like these like French maid costumes. I'm like, this year I was Gene Simmons. I was I dressed up as the house from the movie Up. I was a giant blueberry when we did Willy Wonka. Like nothing.
I saw that one. That was great.
Nothing is attractive anymore, but it's even more fun. It's the way it should be.
That's super awesome. And I love the attention to detail. Space Ace, the Star Child, the Demon. I love that. So great. Yeah. Everybody's definitely loving that and loving all your work as well. So but I did want to go around the room and show everybody's work.
Let's start with Paul.
Sure.
This thing not going. There we go.
All right. Still roughing in. You know me. It takes me a while now, but he's gonna have. I don't know. I don't think I'll do the hat. Maybe I'll do the skullet. Maybe
skullet. Nicely done.
Mm-hmm. And I'll give him his little soul patch and all that good stuff. Maybe a pipe for a smoke. Yeah, I got some more too.
No, it's good. Good stuff. Matt, what do you got?
Oh, Maddie's progress.
So I got
wow.
Is that Tater?
Tater. I figured I was inspired by, seeing him chime in. So we got a nice beard going. And I think I'm doing a pipe too, like, because leprechauns have pipes, right? I don't know. Or maybe that are just.
I think they do.
They have pipes.
But, and then, so some red hair and kind of the face framed in beard. And then,
you can see it totally.
Hat. So.
Dude, you're so good with the the words I'm looking for here is how you so quickly can get levels of depth out of that thing. Like it almost looks like you added the brim on because you pushed back. You can push back so much material in one area so uniformly that it actually gives that illusion that he's wearing a hat. So
thank you. Yeah, the fun.
Touche, Harper. Touche.
Thank you, Doctor. The fun part is just like trimming this hair down to make it look like it's under the hat. It sells it, and then giving the brim. Thank God this is like if this started out as like a really thick, heavy, butternut. So if I had a thin, long one, it wouldn't have carried the same way. But I got to pick the right one.
Yeah, and you chose the right one for the beard too. Like that's the perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this will be fun because they always have like a real bushy beard that kind of goes up. And I'm thinking of ears, but I might skip ears. But anyway, but we shall see.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. All right.
All right, Kristen, let's see what you got.
Well, I didn't do much except talk, but I've got Sloth here, so I still have to add in I have to fix this because I did it as it was facing camera, but I have to finish his bandana, add some detail to his face, and then I'm thinking I'm going to build up his add some shoulders because he has that awesome.
Mickey, I can't see her stuff yet.
Oh, Mickey.
Did we lose Mickey? At least we get to see Matt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go smaller now that I don't want to be big. I want to be tiny. I'll just go move over here again. I think we might have lost Mickey. I can't believe it.
Oh, that's okay.
We're gonna lose Mickey.
He'll come back, maybe. Probably.
Well, I want to see Sloth. I'm not leaving till I see Sloth.
Okay. But
Until you get off the
I
mic.
think I'm gonna do his Superman shirt underneath his head because
Oh, really? You're gonna go that far down because that requires like, geez, almost to the elbows if you're gonna be able to see the logo, right?
well, I think I can just make it the top part of it, so you can see like the suspenders, and then maybe just the top part of the logo. Because I think like the true fans will know that that's supposed to be a Superman shirt. But
I think you're going above and beyond because I think everybody on the planet knows who that is. That's spot on.
I don't know. He's heavy, and I keep turning him the wrong way. I just love like his beard. Just gonna lift some weights.
I know. Huh? Are the eyebrows actually furry?
So I went in. I used a sculpting tool, and I used like a really fine tip. And I took a microblading course, so I know how to draw eyebrow hair. And then I went in with like a powdered brown wash, and then I went over with like a thicker powdered texture vodka mix to make more individual hairs.
Wow, it looks awesome. It really looks like hair.
It looks like skin. I mean, like, it's beautiful. I mean, is that all fondant?
It's all so it's all modeling chocolate. I didn't use any fondant on them. Yeah, I just like his. Wait, oh gosh, it's like mouth. I like. Oh, where is it?
There we go.
I like his,
Wow.
I like seeing in his mouth. Oh, sorry, it's really hard to. But yeah, he needs like a little bit of. It's funny because you think you like it, and then you add like some shading in some of his creases, and then he just keeps coming alive. And hopefully I just know to stop when I'm like quit while I'm ahead, and yeah.
So awesome.
We'll see. I won't have them done tonight because I have to work on that other cake. But
Hey, we'll post these all later. But I can't. This is amazing. I can't believe it's over. It's been long since over. It's been an hour and 43 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Lord. Holy crap.
Yeah. So, Kristen, can I ask you? Can you come on to our show before episode 333? We'd love to have you back. Obviously, you're amazing and your work is incredible. And so, thank you for being here. It's been a real pleasure.
It's always such a pleasure, and it feels like the best way, other than seeing you guys in person. It's just the best way to, just keep in touch. And I was really looking forward today. And anytime you want me back, I'm free to make something weird.
Yes, thank God.
Definitely. And if you want to follow Kristen, oh my gosh, are you serious? This thing is going to give me, why is this thing? Oh, you know what? I had to, it's so funny because I was clicking around to make everything, do my editing, and it was flipping out. So even my internet wants me to wrap up the show.
Your internet's turning Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So if you want to check out Kristen, please go to her Instagram. Is there anywhere else we can find your work, or is this basically the place to go?
You know what? Instagram's the place to go for me. Yeah.
Well, great. And check her out there. You can find us here on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. We will be here next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's been a blast. Thank you, Kristen. You're amazing as always. And Matt and Paul, wonderful work tonight. And we'll see you next time. So from everybody here at Carvers and Creators, we'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye, guys.